Hello and welcome everybody to Oceania Racing League round number 5, and we are here around Canada in Montreal. I am Lindsay Model in the commentary box, and I am joined by J-Man, and it has been a while since we have commentated an ORL race together. How are you?
I feel like we say this every time we commentate. It's
Yeah,
been a
because it's
while,
true.
but
It's true.
um,
It's always a while in
yeah,
between.
it has been a little bit. First time this season, and what better way to serenade the occasion than at your favourite track and with 20 drivers, where God knows what could happen over the next hour or so.
Yeah, it would. It's going to be an interesting one. As much as I love this track, it's definitely a hard track to really get up to pace on. It's easy to get a first grip of, but to really take it to that extra step, that extra level up, it is very difficult. We'll see a lot of track limits penalties tonight, which I think is going to be the main story of the race, and maybe a few brushes with the barrier at the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. It's generally whoever gets the least penalties is usually the one that comes out on top. So we'll see if drivers have practiced this and learned from their mistakes. I highly doubt they have, and I think we will see people get up to like the 9 seconds, the 12 seconds, and just keeps growing. But hopefully we get a low penalty race, and we'll see how we go. As drivers are starting to come out, we'll have a quick standings analysis, which is my favourite part of every qualifying session. And the reigning champion Mahavir not racing this afternoon, so that opens the door. He's got a 9-point lead over Piastri Goat, who has only raced in 2 out of the 4, and he's won both of them. So a perfect start. He'll be looking to go 3 for 3 today. And then the 2 Haas drivers, Grateful Dog and Clammy Kid, who are actually leading the Constructors' Championship, both with a nice even contribution of points. So it's been a while we've seen a driver lineup in RL have such an even team and both be really contributing to the points. So they're doing really well to be out on top at the moment.
Yeah, it is definitely good to see when two teammates are able to work together, which I'll tell you what, J-Man, I've not been able to do it this season. I've picked 2 drivers that on paper are normally pretty alright, and they were, it's a driver that did well for me last season in Mickey and Trent. I was so confident, and where's that gotten me?
Well, it's still early days. It's actually pretty tight this season. So Haas are about 20 points ahead of Williams. So yes, it's all upside down in this league. Haas are first and Williams are second. And then it's Aston Martin and Sauber who are tied in 3rd and 4th. But yeah, from 2nd all the way down to 7th, there's only 18 points the difference. So for Alpine example, who are in 7th, if they pick up 2 good finishes from both their drivers, suddenly they're up into 2nd, and we've got a completely different story. And same with Mercedes, who aren't that far off, but the 2 teams that are very far off the pace, McLaren and Red Bull. McLaren, a bit of a surprise. Zonix and PS Bomber, you'd think another one on paper that would be a really good lineup, but haven't been able to fire. Zonix with that puncture on the last lap, or the second last lap in Spain a couple of weeks ago, cost him a potential top 5 finish, which is one of the most unbelievable things still that I've seen. 2 drivers getting a puncture late in the race on intermediate tyres. But McLaren with a bit of bad luck, they'll be looking to fight back as well today. Red Bull, they've just made a driver change. Kalki's come in, not racing though, so they're going to need some divine intervention to get them off the bottom of the table, I think.
Yep, I would agree with that one, as Piastri Goat is coming up towards the line now. 108.7 to kick off the session, and that is not bad by any means. I expect pole to be a mid to low 108, which is not a slow lap time whatsoever. And what a first lap from Piastri, and he's currently 5/10 clear of Ari Wedlock.
Yeah, he's channeling the fellow Australian driver who's also got pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix, which is just after this actually. So if you're interested in watching some slightly less interesting racing, you can go watch the F1 after this. But I'd definitely be tuned into this for the moment. As Oscar Piastri Goat clearing the field. Ari Wedlock doing all right there in P2. He's had a really good season. He's a new driver to RL. and has showed some really good pace. There's a couple of drivers that really excite me in this field. Spicy's back for his first race as well. We know he's a bit of an iconic figure throughout the league. Martin's back as well. He's just finished a lap into P4. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this field goes. 20 drivers, always going to be mayhem, but yeah, and the Haas drivers for P3 and 4, just like they are in the championship.
Yep, and that is not bad. That's not a bad place to be whatsoever, and it sets you up very well for the race. And Canada's always one for creating a few safety cars and a few interesting moments. And I think we have one of the most famous ORL battles of all time around this circuit. It was Milan and Zonix, was it? Or
Yeah, that's right.
Or something.
It was Milan and Zonix. Yep.
Yeah, Milan and Zonix had an absolutely iconic battle here in Montreal, and no Milan, but still, I reckon we could see a run back from Zonix battling it out with someone else here around this circuit.
Yeah, and another in that same race, that Tier 2 Canadian Grand Prix was an absolute ripper. I remember Melbourne Mac was on course for his first RL win before spinning it. He was on fire that day. We were commentating it. Unfortunately, it just slipped away from him. I think it was Vipermon who picked up the win in the end, and that was on his enormous streak of wins, one of the most dominant seasons we've ever seen. So that was a classic race, and we've had quite a few great Canadian Grand Prix here over the seasons. It's been a mainstay in the RL calendar.
I wonder why.
Over most seasons. I'm not sure. I don't think, was it in it last season? I can't remember.
Yep, I may or may not have something to do with that. May or may not have something to do with that. I always make
that
sure
makes
it's
sense.
in there. Even on F123, when I didn't even really like Canada that much, I snuck it in there.
Yeah, let's invite Sonic's back.
But yeah, there have been some really iconic races, and it's not just restricted to Tier 2 either. There have been some really good Tier 1 races here around this circuit, especially back in the F1 22 sort of era, early on in ORL. Season 2, it was myself, Skits, MX, and I believe Cloxon had just arrived as well. All fighting it out for the race win. It went 4 ways, and because I was the only one not to pick up a penalty, I beat MX just for the race win in that race, and that is
happy to bring that one up.
No, okay, I was about to say yes, happy to bring that up, but it was a really close race, and that is not the only one that we've seen in Tier 1 over the past few seasons at Canada as well.
Yeah, important. This is a really crucial race for a lot of drivers today. Heading towards the midpoint of the season, some drivers, it's still wide open, as I say. There hasn't been anyone that's really dominated over the course of the whole season. Like we've had Abyss last season, won the first 5 races. Season before, I believe it was Geordie that won 5 off the bat as well. We haven't had that so far this season, which is good. So the championship battles are still alive and well at this point. A couple of drivers that I'll point out specifically that need a good result. Keithy in the Ferrari had real big expectations coming into this season. Currently, only on 17 points, standing 11th in the championship. He's gotten a P4, no podiums so far. We know he has the ability to get them, so hopefully he can find a way. Similar story for Trent as well. Your driver and Mickey. We know that they all have the pace to be there. It just hasn't worked out for them for whatever reason in the first 4 races, as Danger's retired from the qualifying session. So no good for him. He'll be back at the grid, and that's a bit of a disappointment for him.
Piastri just had 2 slipstreams throughout his flying lap, and it shows. Wow. Okay.
Whew.
That is a lap there from Oscar Piastri. He actually picked up a massive slipstream from Trent Newton, who was about to start a lap and invalidated at turn 1. He can't seem to get it going here in this qualifying session, but Oscar Piastri, the GOAT, certainly can. He is 9/10 clear of Grateful Dog in the P2 Haas, and that is quite some lap. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Regardless of slipstreams, definitely giving him a few tenths, it still would have hooked up to be quite a fast lap time and still an improvement over what was already a pretty fast provisional pole lap here. Oscar Piastri Goat, maybe another fan of Canada.
Absolutely firing at the moment, Piastri Goat. And if he keeps his form up, he could be 3 for 3 for races this season. And all he needs today is 10 points to capture the lead of the championship for the first time. So he's looking really strong at the moment. Unchallenged at this stage, but still a ways to go. Can someone pull out a late lap? We haven't even seen a lap from Zonix or Trent, Kwistra or SNF Wolf. So they've still got some pace that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, all the drivers are a long way off. And Piastri's retired. That is an ego retire from Piastri. He reckons he's got enough.
Yep, it's definitely an ego retire from Piastri Goat, but honestly, if I'm in his shoes, I'm doing the exact same thing if I'm 9 times clear of the rest of the grid. It's very Seb Vettel, Singapore Grand Prix-esque there from Piastri Goat. He's decided that's enough.
Yeah.
And
sorry, in the meantime, Kwistra goes P5 with a nice slipstream from his Alpine teammate. So very well done there.
Yeah, just a little bit of teamwork going on potentially. And Geordie, though he probably doesn't care enough, he's probably too busy sleeping or being on iRacing to really be bothered. But theoretically, he would be quite happy to see that his team is working together, currently sitting P5 and P8, which is not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, Alpine need a bit of a lifter as well, so this could be the one. We'll have a look at SNF Wolf here, who's on a lap and hasn't invalidated to this stage, so could this be a nice lap here with 6 minutes to go as he goes up to the hairpin. Hopefully the Alpine stays out of the way, does so, takes a little bit of curb on the exit. Now he's going to get a bit of a slipstream. I'm not sure who that is ahead of him. It's a Ferrari. That'll be Keithy. So, could this be a handy run here for Wolf? The slipstream continues, and now he hasn't taken that corner perfectly, and he runs to the line. It's not going to be too shabby. 109.9, so P11 for the RB. That corner, the final chicane there, cost him a couple tenths, I think.
Yep, 100%. Just ran very, very deep there in the V-carb, and it's just not gone quite so well for him. He just then couldn't get it hooked up for the exit at the Wall of Champions. Mickey currently on an outlap, same with the two Williams, all on outlaps at the moment. So we'll go to ZX as he is in the Williams. He's about to head into the hairpin, and he will get ready for a qualifying lap, as I think Zonix is still asking for an invite, J-Man.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
So currently we have ZX about to begin a lap in the Williams with Mickey just a couple 100 meters down the road from him here as he now heads through the final chicane to begin a lap of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit, and he's invalidated before he even gets started. So we'll now go to Mickey as he gets ready to begin a lap here of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit, holding 7th gear, heading up towards turn 1 again, down to 4th, and then just flick it across 3rd gear through the right-hander, power out, and be confident with the traction in the race. You've got to be a bit more careful. Don't hit the grass on the entry now to this right-left chicane. I've learnt that lesson too many times to count as he goes down to 4th gear, cuts both curbs, not using all the road on the exit there, and he's 1,000ths down through the first sector as now he heads through the slow left-right chicane. Very tricky to get the throttle down through that first left-right in the middle sector, and now up to the trickiest chicane of the lot. A very high speed right-left. You can very much lose the rear or invalidate your lap at that corner. Mickey not carrying a whole load of speed, so he's maybe not on for any sort of record-breaking laps, but it's just a safe lap as he now heads into the hairpin. 2.5 tenths up in the Mercedes as he now makes his way down the straight and the run towards the infamous Wall of Champions, where many races have been ended in real life and sim racing alike, and now he has the challenge to tackle it here on his qualifying lap, braking down to 4th gear for Mickey. An interesting gear choice there, but he carries a reasonable amount of speed and up towards the line now in the Mercedes, a 109.7, 7th place. Probably not the most happy with that lap. He did lose time in the 3rd sector, but still an improvement for Mickey.
Yep, not so bad at all there. P7 for Mickey, just ahead of Com United, who is on a lap as well at the moment. So Com United actually in a decent spot here in P8. He's improved in the first sector as well, so have a quick look at this with 3 minutes left in the qualifying session. Trent out on the track as well, I believe. Just finished a lap in P11 and 109.7. And Com United just marginally up here on his lap time. And gets it rotated pretty decently through the hairpin. And now it's all about how he takes this final chicane. This can win or lose you a lot of time. And we saw Mickey take it not too badly, so this could be the difference maker between the two of them, and he has invalidated. He's just tried to bite off a little bit too much there as Com United, but and yeah, he'll remain P8 as a result of that. And now we get towards the end of qualifying here, just a couple minutes to go. Driver's starting to head out now.
Yeah, and I think that we have quite an interesting end of this qualifying session ahead. Can anybody even get within 0.5 of a second of Piastri Goat's lap? Maybe and maybe not. So it's all for us to find out as we head into the last leg of this qualifying session. Spicy is on an out lap. I do believe that Trent is trying to get in and out very quickly. He's just straight lined off into the pit lane, and then he'll get ready for final runs. But here we go, Spicy beginning a lap now in the Red Bull. A Williams also of Mikey DeBoy also starting a lap in the Williams, just a couple 100 meters up the road from Spicy. Is now Spicy begins the endeavor into the very foresty island here in Montreal, and he is getting ready to try and hook up what is going to be quite an important lap in the grand scheme of things for his race. And he's already made a little mistake, a little bit of a snap through the second chicane. He'll want to find a little bit more time than just the hundredth he found through the first sector, and now he pushes his way through the middle sector. Was a very nice exit off of the left-right to begin the sector, and now you head into the fast chicane, cut the inside, and Spicy's carried a reasonable amount of speed there in the Red Bull as he now makes his way towards the hairpin, getting ready to slam on the anchors. It's a very understeery hairpin. He's a 1/10.5 up. That would put him past PS Bomber, but not quite past SNF Wolf in P13. He'll need to find a lot more time at the Wall of Champions. All it takes is a little bit more commitment to find even just a couple 1/10 of a second. He should be able to pull this off now in the Red Bull as he makes his way through the right-left, and he's so close to the wall. He's basically brushing it now as he makes his way towards the line, and it's a 109.6 P7 for Spicy.
Yeah, good finish there. Martin's also finishing as well. He was 7/10 up, but he had a massive slide into the hairpin. How much is that going to cost him in the end? Not too much. It's P2 for Martin in the Kick Sauber. Great qualifying so far for them, and that's really solid effort there to get P2. Now let's have a look to see if anyone can challenge Coistra up 3/10. No, he's invalidated, unfortunately. What about Keithy? He's up 3/10 as well in the Ferrari. He needs about 6/10 to get to P2 here. Looks like Piastri Goat has pole in the bag quite comfortably, and now I'm really challenging him. Here's a good slipstream for the Ferrari from the Aston Martin of Guga, who I believe is also on a lap in front. So we'll see how both of them go here. And Guga has cut the track there, so no good for him as qualifying finishes. And Keithy now coming to the line, and he goes P6. Almost 3/10 improvement there. And we have a look towards the Haas drivers now. Can they do anything?
And yeah, they are pushing around the circuit. They're both heading through the hairpin now. Clammy is making his way onto the straight. So is Grateful Dog as they make their way down this long straight. They'll be burning all of their battery and just hoping their straight line speed is enough. And then they have to get the perfect corner cuts here at the final chicane to maximize the lap. And Clammy Kid up towards the line now. Can he put himself back on the front row, back ahead of Martin as he heads up towards the line? No, he can't. What about Grateful Dogs? Yes, he can. A
yes, he can.
108.925 in the Haas, and that is not a bad lap whatsoever. But Oscar Piastri Goat, that is a very dominant pole position. That is a 108.317 compared to 6/10 behind to Grateful Dog of a 0.925. That definitely makes a statement for what he's planning to do in this race.
Yeah, what a qualifying. Yeah, I'm loving the team split here towards the front of the field. You've got Aston Martin on pole, then you've got Haas Kick Sauber, Haas Sauber, and then a Ferrari and two Alpines. So there's going to be a lot of team battling here, which I'm very excited to see. It doesn't happen often, but with how close the Constructors is, it's going to be all up for grabs here. And the Haas drivers, once again, have had a very good qualifying. No wins to their name yet, but could that change today? Sauber also with a really good qualifying will want a good result. But it's all about Piastri Goat, 6/10 clear on pole position at a track that's not very long as well. So 6/10 is an enormous margin. We can't understate that. What an awesome result for him. But this race is wide open.
Yeah, and it's definitely really interesting to see that big of a gap around such a short lap here in Canada, and then the rest of the grid very close together. P2 down to P9, I believe it was only separated by 0.3 of a second. So a lot of drivers will be battling and squabbling very, very hard here in Canada, and it is all going to be interesting to watch, interesting to find out. But can anybody stay with Oscar Piastri Goat come race time with the race trim on the car? With a little bit of DRS, they should be able to stay within DRS range. But if they can't, I think that Oscar's going to absolutely fly away.
Yeah, it's always exciting. Just before we kick the race off here, no one knows what could happen down into turn one. It's a short run, obviously, but with Grateful Dog and Oscar Piastri Goat on the front row, anything can happen. Two very good drivers, and you got plenty of good ones behind as well. Martin in P3 will be looking to come through and get a win. It's very cloudy overhead as well, so could there be a bit of rain on the cards? We usually get some in Montreal. It's more often than not that we do. So could that play a part as well in this race? 35 laps it'll be. And here we go.
So we come to the 5 red lights here for the Canadian Grand Prix, and we are underway for racing action. Oscar Piastri Goat getting off to a good start, but Grateful Dog trying the long way round already in the Haas. They're side by side for the race lead, but Oscar just about pulls out ahead as Martin is going side by side now with Clammy Kid, and Clammy Kid already making his stake in the top 3 here. He's down the inside, they're side by side, there's contact, and that's a bit of a bang with the wall there for the Haas of Clammy Kid. He gets damaged. Martin had to cut the chicane. That'll be a warning to his name already as well. They're still side by side. There's more contact between the Haas and the Sauber, as meanwhile as well, Ari is going side by side with Keith, who manages to get the place, and Martin's back down the inside of Clammy Kid. They make more contact, and he has to cut the corner again. Clammy loses out severely this time around. He's dropped to 6th place, and he's still beginning to fall as Glob Drip is now past him, and that is Martin dropping back. He's
Clammy Kids!
Clammy Kid is falling all the way down the order, and he's now in P14, and that is not what he'd want. P15, P16, it just keeps getting worse for Clammy Kid. Not the opening lap he'd want, and Martin as well tried to cede the position, but all it did was lose him more places, and now he's trying to go side by side with Mickey at the Wall of Champions, but he doesn't. But in the background, there's 3 wide between Guga, Rhino, and ZX through the final chicane. It's a pile-up.
Oh my goodness. And that's Z-Dex out. Guga somehow survived that, and so did the RB of Rhino. But yeah, Z-Dex out, VSC deployed, and what an insane start to the race that was. Piastri Goat was able to avoid all the carnage. Grateful Dog as well was able to get away. But Martin must have been caught up in that as well. He's fallen all the way down to 9th. Clammy Kid now dead last on the track, has to come into the pits. Spicy also had an incident that dropped him down to last temporarily, but he's lost 7 places. And the beneficiaries from that, Ari Wedlock was able to sneak through into P3. Keithy P4, the Alpines still next to each other. And then it's the 2 Mercedes in 7th and 8th. So can't be too upset about that start. Also, Zonix up 6 places and danger. So not awful, as Clammy Kid did go into the pits, get that wing changed. Rhino has wing damage as well. And I believe Mikey does as well, as the VSC is now called in, DRS enabled on lap 2. Piastri Goat has cleared Grateful Dog by a second. So the top 2 are away free here, but Glob Drip is now chasing after Keithy, who's chasing after Ari Wedlock. So battle for P3 here early on. Who can get the best exit? It's Keithy who does really well. Can he chase down Ari Wedlock into turn 1? As they cross the line, the 2 Alpines, sorry Lindsay, and Keithy can't quite do it on this occasion.
Yeah, you're all good. We're just getting back into the swing of things, aren't we, J-Man? It's been it's been a second and plus or so. I just finished work, so I'm absolutely all over the joint. But regardless here, we have battles beginning to form as down the back as well, more cars in the pit lane, Guga and Rhino, as we'd expect after their contact earlier on with the wall at the Wall of Champions. they will be just hoping that there's a safety car to get them back into this one. But we've seen several times here at Canada in ORL that drivers are able to get back into it with a safety car, whether it be in the middle or the late side of the races. Kuistra gets past his teammate Globdrip, obliging there, and just lets Kuistra go. And now he lets his teammate try and attack the two cars in front of Keithy and Ari as they make their way down the straight. Will Keith go for a move now on the Sauber? Yes, he will, and he gets past in the DRS, and I think we'll see a lot of that swapping as this race goes on. It's the third lap of the race here in Canada, and Piastri has absolutely checked out of this one.
Yep, and Trent's coming to the pits. He had soft tyres on, and he's gone for a very early stop here. No wing change either, so on to the hards he goes. I'm not sure if this is a planned from the start, but he goes straight onto the hards, down to the 15th after making some good ground early on, so very interesting. But yeah, that's the Keithy we know and love. He's up to P3 now, looking very strong, but there's still a bit of pressure from behind he's going to have to deal with. In the meantime, a few penalties in the midfield. PS Bomber, SNF Wolf, and Clammy Kid have already picked some up, and Rhino follows suit there on lap 4. So early warning signs for some of these drivers. They really need to be a bit more careful here, because this could really come to bite them late on in the piece. But this is a good 4-car battle here for P3. Grateful Dog will be very comfortable sitting in P2, and Piastri Goat just absolutely flying. All he really wants is no safety car from here on out. But here we go. Globtrip might be trying a move out in his teammate as Ari Wedlock takes P3 back for the Sauber team. Very nicely done. This battle could rage on for a bit longer, as there's very close battle between Mickey and PS Bomber as well. Mickey just is able to hold the McLaren off there, and a little bit more battling further down, but most drivers hold positions. And there's a bit of a gap starting to form. A few little trains here and there as Globdrip is allowed past by Kuistra to see if he can make an impression on the two in front of him.
Yeah, a lot of teamwork going on right now in the Alpine garage, and right now I think that could be playing into their favour. They're just trying to work together with the DRS, making sure they don't lose time, and with how close they are to not being inside the DRS range of Keithy, they have to keep their heads down. They have to keep pushing here in this Canadian Grand Prix, otherwise they will lose the DRS and they'll be kind of stuck in P5 and P6. That's still a good result for the constructors, though, nonetheless, in the Alpine garage. They will be very happy with it at the moment. They're just trying to maximise even more, but here we go, down the straight once again. Keithy behind the Sauber of Ari, and he's going to try and make the move now, and it should be self-explanatory here for Keithy. Just push the throttle down, and you'll sail past with the DRS, and that's exactly what he's done, and that's pretty much what the name of the game is here in F1 24. It's the reality of it, and right now I think we're going to see that happen for quite a while to come until it gets to those periods after the pit stops where the gloves will come off. But for now, it's going to be about settling into a rhythm and making sure you don't lose DRS to the cars in front.
Yeah, Mikey was the one causing the yellow flags there as well. He's just been lapped by Piastri Goat. He's made his second pit stop, and he's picked up front wing end plate damage. And now he's holding up Grateful Dog a little bit, and that's costing quite a bit of time. Keithy's almost back in the DRS now, so that mistake from Mikey could come back to hurt Grateful Dog in P2 here. And Keithy's really sensing opportunity now to fight back. And Ari Wedlock has dropped Globdrip with the 1 second gap there, so if they can get away, he makes a move down the inside on Keithy. They've got the lap car in front who has to get out of the way. Kind of got in Ari Wedlock's way a little bit, but that was very interesting from Ari Wedlock, and now he has another crack at Keithy, but Keithy got a dose of DRS from Mikey, the lapped car, and that is just going to save his skin on this occasion. And now they are within 8/10 of Grateful Dog, who unfortunately, as a result of that, has fallen back into this battle and is going to have a bit of work to do as Mikey retires. Is that in the pits? I believe it is. And yeah, not a good race for the Williams. They're both out of the race, and they're the leading the constructors, or second in the constructors as well. That is not a great result for them.
Yeah, no, it is not, and they'll be not happy with that one, to say the least, and they'll have to bounce back quite significantly next round. But for now, they've just got to keep their heads high and hope that some of their other rivals in the constructors kind of fall apart here in Canada as we race around this semi-street, semi-permanent circuit here in Montreal, and they'll continue to battle away here up the front between a Grateful Dog, a Keithy, and Ari, and the Alpines are so close to the back of that DRS as well, but they've just lost it, and it'll be very hard for them to get back into this one, as Keithy is now DRS wide open to the Haas that's in his sights, but he's not going to get close enough to go for a move on this occasion. Grateful Dog with some incredible straight line speed, maybe running some low wings on that Haas car, which is really helping him stay in front, because even with the DRS wide open here on the back of that Scarlet Red Ferrari, Keith is just not able to get super close behind Grateful Dog. But then through the corners, I think that Grateful is just bleeding off a little bit of lap time, and you can see that right here, right now, as they head through the first sector. It looked like Grateful Dog just lost a couple tenths, but then again, Keithy making some mistakes is really just helping Grateful Dog hold on to the position that he's in at the moment, as well as Ari just sitting in the background, not getting the elbows out towards Keithy, but Kuishra and Globdrip just always get to that 1 second and then just drop back out. They'll need just a little bit more if they want to make this a six-way fight for P2.
Yeah, it's a good observation there. You can see Grateful Dog just not as nimble through the corners as the Ferrari is. Can Keithy use that to his advantage as a yellow in the midfield? It's Globdrip has lost quite a few places there. Has he had a coming together with the ball? He has no front wing. No front wing for Globdrip, and that is not good for the Alpine team. But here we go now, the battle for P2. Keithy can now sail by the Haas driver, and so can Ari Wedlock. And they've both gained a position. Grateful Dog has lost 2 here, and he has accepted that he's fallen back into this fight. And this is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Haas driver, who was really riding comfortably in P2 earlier, but now he's got some work to do, and he's got to try and hang on to that DRS of Ari Wedlock in front. Kuistra has dropped back a little bit as well. Globdrip is going to have to come into the pits, and he has, and that'll send him tumbling down the order now.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Globdrip. He was just so close to the DRS range of the 3 that we're looking at right now, but he wasn't quite able to get in, and now his teammate Kuishra will also be feeling the effects, currently still sitting on that border of 1 second, but now without doses of DRS every straight, he'll be struggling now to stay even remotely close to these 3 who are fighting away. He's just got to hope that there is going to be a little bit too much battling between these 3, as at the hairpin, Ari nearly hit the back of Keithy there with some different braking points and different lines at the hairpin, and Grateful Dog actually not having the most successful first and second sectors here, as they now swap around positions again, but Grateful Dog nearly at the end of that 1 second margin. That's helping Kuistra stay with them at the moment here as we head towards lap 10 of this Grand Prix. That's a big snap from Kuistra in the background. Disregard what I said about the Alpine. He is now well and truly out of this fight, back 2 seconds, but Keithy and Ari really continuing to swap away and scrap at this one as they head their way further and further into the laps. Meanwhile, another close fight, as you said earlier, J-Man, is Mickey and PS Bomber, the 2 championship rivals from last season, are basically pushing each other around this Canadian Grand Prix circuit at the moment. That gap was only less than a tenth a corner ago, but now it's out to 4 tenths, and it's not just them in this fight. It's Bomber, Mickey, Danger, and Zonix all in this fight for P7.
Yeah, my timing board's reporting Danger carrying a bit of damage as well, so he's doing a good job there, because Canada's a very difficult track to carry damage around. He's up 11 places, started at the back of the grid, didn't set a lap in qualifying, so a very good start to this race from Danger. He's found himself into the points. There's a few drivers lower down the field that have pitted though, so that order might change up once the pit stops happen, but PS Bomber could be getting hunted here by Mickey, and PS Bomber not too far behind Martin ahead. So they're right in touch there as Martin gets ahead of Kuistra, who is just lost all pace here in the recent laps here. But PS Bomber does well to hang on. Now Danger sees an opportunity. He's going to have a bit lower downforce as a result of that damage, and now going down the inside of Mickey. They break at about the same spot. Mickey getting squeezed a little bit, but Danger does give him the room and the respect to keep him in there, and Mickey does hang on to that position. A good little scrap there. Did hurt them in terms of time, but now all of a sudden Kuistra is struggling, and Wolf is out, and that's at the exit of the chicane, and that's brought out the safety car.
And that is crucial now for a couple of drivers. That helps Keithy get right up back behind Oscar Piastri, who ran away, but now with another opportunity to stay in DRS, surely it won't go to waste, as well as Trent has been helped, Globdrip has been helped, and Guga and Rhino as well have been massively helped, and I think there is going to be quite a lot of position changing here in this safety car period, whether it be strategy or post-safety car restart. But also, take a look at that penalty list. I said there was going to be a lot of penalties. I didn't expect this many in 11 laps. Grateful Dog, Martin, Kuistra, Bomber, Zonix, Communited, Spicy, Clammy Kid, Globdrip, Guga, and Rhino all have penalties, and a couple of them have 6 seconds, being Bomber, Zonix, and Spicy, with 6 seconds worth of time penalties. That is a lot of penalties here in Canada.
Yep, we said it was going to happen. There's no way to get rid of them in the pits, so all the drivers have to hang on to those penalties for the rest of the race. United has stayed out. Clammy Kid has gotten a drive-through for speeding under safety car. His race goes from bad to worse. So United has come out, staying out on the hard tyres, comes out in P2, and Trent staying out on his hard tyres comes out in P6, and Clammy Kid has retired. And what an unfortunate race it was for him. Currently P3 in the Drivers' Championship, but no good on this occasion. And that is going to cost Haas some points as well. So some teams are going to be licking their lips at that opportunity. Teams like Aston Martin, Ferrari, Sauber, they're all going to be in the hunt here for some good points and to close up that gap in the Constructors' Championship. But everyone on the field on new tyres except for United, Trent, Globdrip, Guga, and Rhino. You'd think that Globdrip, Guga, and Rhino could probably just pin onto new tyres. They wouldn't lose too many positions, and it would give them a bit of an advantage, but we'll see what they decide in the end. But yeah, this restart's going to be interesting. United, a good buffer there for Piastri Goat.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. We saw that the race start, after all the battling between Clammy Kid and Martin, allowed him to break the DRS, and from there it was game over. And now Keithy won't want that same thing to happen. He is going to absolutely have to go for it on United. Never mind, United comes into the pits. That is buffer gone there for Oscar Piastri Goat, and now it'll be 1v1. We know that Piastri has the pace over Keithy and the rest of the drivers on the grid, but with DRS, as long as Keithy and the others can stay inside DRS range, we should still have a race on our hands.
Yep, and United all the way down to last in the field now. The Red Bulls 14th and 16th, still searching for their first point. But you got to be in it to win it, and both the Red Bulls are still there. And with the safety car out, the points are not as far away as they might feel for the Red Bull drivers. McLaren similarly only on 2 points for the season. Both their drivers in the points today. Can they get their season back on track? As I said, there's a few drivers that are running very important races here. And it's make or break. Oscar Piastri Goat still leading the way. Safety car should be in at the end of this lap. Guga, Globdrip, Rhino, Trent on old tyres. Keep an eye out for them because they're going to be right in the action here. And Trent is going to receive a lot of pressure from behind from PS Bomber. But also Trent might be helping Mickey out here, doing him a little bit of a favour by holding the drivers up in front of him. So you've got to take that into account as well, as the safety car is now called. And we leave it to Piastri Goat, who becomes the safety car and is going to lead us off for the first time on lap 13.
Yep, and he is now controlling the pace, weaving away. You can see a big train of cars weaving left and right. And they will now just be warming their tyres, making sure... Oh, there's contact there up the back. Spicy and Rhino. Already they've been tangled together this race, and now they've come to blows again. Can't see if they have damage, but back up the front, Piastri, he very much bolted early, and he already nearly has a second to Keithy. So Keithy is going to have to use a lot of battery here to close back up. Everybody in the field was caught napping there when Oscar decided to go, and PS Bomber as well has lost 1 second to Trent already, but he's closing back into that space. But Keithy is right on the edge of 1 second. This is crucial for the battle for the race win. If Oscar can break that DRS, it'll be game over unless there's another safety car. So this is going to be a crucial moment in this race. 8.5 tenths between Keithy and Oscar Piastri Goat, and he just has to hold on for 2 more sectors of this lap, and he should be okay to hold on, but it's so close. But with only 1 more corner and a straight to go, no, 2 more corners and a straight to go, will he be able to hold in that 1 second margin here as they head towards and closer towards lap 15 as they inch and inch further towards the end of the lap now. Keithy is now outside 1 second, and I don't know if he has the battery or the straight line speed to get back inside, and that is crucial here for this race, and that is not what Keithy would have wanted his restart to go like.
They're both absolutely burning their battery. Keithy still has a little bit more. Oscar Piastri got used just a touch more to try and get away, but Keithy right on the margins here. This could be a game-changing moment in this race, and he's just hanging on. Whether he gets DRS or not is going to be the big key for this race win. Keithy is going to be desperate to take this one, but it's now 1.1 seconds, and Piastri Goat just looking a bit too good here for the Ferrari. And Ari Wedlock also has dropped out just about of that gap, but still fighting hard for a podium. Grateful Dog is getting overtaken by Trent here. So I'm not sure what's happened to Grateful Dog, but the man on way older tyres, he's just picked up a 3 second, but way older tyres and gets past Grateful Dog, who's on fresh hards. So really good work from the Mercedes there. Must have some really good raw pace. He's able to do that. PS Bomber also with a great restart up into P6. And then Martin Cowista in a huge battle here with Danger leading the way, and Mickey down in 10th going after it. And he's getting overtaken by Globdrip, who has now put his Alpine back into the points after a bit of a rough run early in the race. Does the job nicely. In the meantime, up front, Piastri Goat 2 seconds clear of Keithy, and Grateful Dog does take that position back off Trent. And Keithy just holding off Ari Wedlock, who has caught up quite well there.
Yeah, that is not what Keithy would have wanted. He would have been, okay, I lost the DRS to Oscar Piastri Goat, but now at least I've broken the DRS to Ari, but he's not been able to do that. He's not been able to hold it. That gap is 3 tenths, and now 3 tenths, and now we have a
Good
fight
run
between the two of them. That's a great run from Ari as he goes down the inside and gets the move done with the DRS into P2, and this is now going to be your one-on-one battle for the P2 in this race, with every driver behind them having 3 second time penalties as Martin picks up another one. A lot of drivers now reaching that 6 and 9 second range of track limits penalties. I was surprised to see Trent Newton didn't get a penalty earlier on. He was complaining relentlessly about track limits before the race, but he was one of the last ones now to pick up a 3 second. There's only 5 cars on the grid at the moment without a 3 second time penalty to their name, and I'll tell you what, as long as they can stay within a 3 second window, they should gain a lot of places as Mickey is battling away with Spicy, gets the place on the Red Bull, moving into P12 after losing the place to Zonix and Spicy a couple of moments ago. He gets back past the Red Bull, but he's outside 1 second to Zonix as at the moment Ari and Keithy are just going to be swapping away with the DRS. Everybody's now completed a pit stop, so I think that if everybody can just close back in, use their DRS to just make sure they're close to the cars behind, I think we're going to see a couple of battles begin to heat up here in ORL.
Yep, and we're down to 4, now 3 penalty-less drivers as Danger and Mickey both pick up 3 seconds on the same lap, and that is their advantage gone, unfortunately, for now. But we will see more penalties, so they've done well to last this long. But I'm not surprised that the 3 drivers without penalties are the top 3. The drivers that are able to keep it on the track usually tend to be the best drivers, and that's what we're seeing so far. It's a great exit out of the hairpin from Ari Wedlock. A good little fight back from Keithy, but he's not going to be able to do anything against that DRS from the Sauber. And now heading into the final chicane. Should be able to consolidate this, and does so, Ari Wedlock. And with the double dose of DRS gets that job done, as Zonix also made a move past Globdrip into P10. So back into the points now is that McLaren. Danger now sets the fastest lap and gets past Cowista as well. And Danger with a new front wing after the safety car pit stops now can really unleash his full pace. And he's really coming up the leaders down in P20 to start the race, up 12 places. He's still got a fair ways to go, but looking really positive for the Ferrari.
Yep, he's looking quick, and maybe if he just gets a move on a little bit more, he could find himself up near his teammate. He does have a penalty, but so do most other drivers, and I would still expect, despite the top 3 not having penalties, I would expect them to get a penalty at one point. At least one will get a penalty, I think, inside this top 3 at the moment. But Ari and Keithy have now dropped back into the DRS range of Grateful Dog, Trent Newton, Martin, and almost PS Bomber as well. So now this fight gets just a little bit bigger once again as we head down the straight. Keithy is swapping around Martin.
Glob Drip.
Oh, as Glob Drip and oh no, what has happened? He's got damage on his Alpine, and that is into the wall once again for Glob Drip. He's in the wars tonight, and he cannot seem to get his way out, as Kuistra also retiring from the session in the pit lane, and it is an Alpine disaster class here in Montreal.
Yeah, what's happened all in the space of one lap? The Alpines have had a shocker. Kuistra must have picked up some damage as well, and Kuistra out of the race after looking really solid. Glob Drip as well is going to stay in the race. He'll be down in P15. Oh no, P14 he'll remain because Rhino's still quite a fair way back. But yeah, disappointing for Alpine. Can Glob Drip salvage a couple points there? They had a really good opportunity, but unfortunately it's gone to waste. Trent and Martin wheel to wheel. Martin able to ease through. The Mercedes tyres hurting now. Going to have to come into the pits pretty soon, you'd suspect. Trent may be still holding out for the possibility of a safety car, which has not come yet. Danger in the meantime, continuing his charge. PS Bomber is defenseless against the Ferrari as Danger eases his way into P7 and continues his climb, but he picks up another 3 second. That's 2 3-second penalties in the space of 3 laps. Danger has been pushing hard and gets the fastest lap, but the complication of that is now he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties as Spicy has DNF'd in the pits as well.
Yep, and what I made the noise about was PS Bomber. Luckily, he got away with no damage, but after he got overtaken by Danger, he absolutely smacked into the exit wall at the Wall of Champions, and that was probably not how he wanted his corner to go, but it doesn't look like he has any damage on that McLaren, and currently we're sitting with a double McLaren top 10. Only a P8 and P9, but those points could be valuable as we head later on into this season. But the battle that still has my attention is the battle for P2, as Trent nearly flies into the back of Martin at the hairpin. That's really compromised his run onto the straight. He probably won't be able to get Martin back now, but Martin is in the hunt to try and get past Grateful Dog. But meanwhile, Keithy swaps around with Ari once again, and Martin not quite able to get up behind Grateful Dog and get the move done. But now heading down towards turn 1, he's closer than he has been on previous attempts. Will he try it down towards turn 1 in the Sauber? He's so close behind. They're all so close together here in the P2, 3, 4, 5, 6 train, and they just can't quite make any moves unless it's down the big long straight towards the final corner. And this is exactly what Martin will be wanting. With his 6-second penalty, he'll want them to battle more and more and more, and hope that because they're pushing that bit harder, that they do pick up some track limits penalties. That's his only way to not drop further down this order once the dust settles on lap 35.
Yep, Glob Drip around once again as well, so absolute disaster for Alpine here. Nearly being overtaken by Rhino, but look how close this battle is from 2nd all the way down to 7th. Trent has done well to hang on here on old tyres, and that's going to give him a little bit of protection from Danger behind this DRS train, and it's getting really close. You feel like something is on the horizon here as we go down the back straight. Ari Wedlock leading a huge train. Keithy will get through. Grateful Dog might also. And Martin absolutely flying! Oh my goodness, down the inside. That was very, very close to a Sauber disaster. Ari Wedlock didn't see him coming, but Martin does get through. Ari Wedlock down to 5th, and now wheel to wheel into turn 1. Banging wheels goes Grateful Dog and Martin, and all of a sudden the race spicing up, and there's contact between the Saubers again, and Piastri picks up a 3-second penalty. Ari Wedlock and Martin so close. Martin had to get out onto the grass there to stay out of it, and Guga has retired in the pits as well. What a interesting sequence we saw there, and I said something's on the horizon, and that was very, very close to a disaster.
Yep, and what a change of events that is. We went from 3 drivers not having penalties, being the top 3, and now Oscar and Ari got 3-second time penalties. Keithy now the only driver here in the Canadian Grand Prix without a penalty. If he can keep himself penaltyless for the next 13 laps, that could benefit his race greatly.
Martin.
What has happened? Martin went
Deep.
down. Martin went deep at the hairpin, and now Ari is battling away with his teammates. The Saubers are side by side as they make their way down the straights here in Canada, but Martin holding on to the place, but he'll not be happy to lose out more time than he needed to Grateful Dog, as once again he has a run off of the Wall of Champions, but he isn't able to make any inroads or a move on Grateful Dog. Globdrip with a 3-second time penalty down the back, not all too important as he's 33 seconds behind the car in front, and the car behind him has 12 seconds worth of time.
Oh,
that was
Sauber front wing end plate.
That was a Sauber, and that was not Martin, which means it was Ari who has gotten damage, and yes, it's his front left end plate that is now missing on that Sauber, and that will help Trent and Danger if they can get past that. Puts them another place up, and Ari will not be happy to have damage, but he just made a little bit of contact with the wall on the exit of the second chicane.
Yeah, my telemetry is also rating that Martin has front wing damage as well, so he must have a very minuscule amount, which it could be hurting his pace as well. But the Saubers all of a sudden have fallen apart here. Keithy's gotten away from Grateful Dog here by 1.1 seconds, which means without the comfort of DRS, as Globdrip retires in the pits as well. We're down to 12 drivers now, and Martin eases his way through. Ari Wedlock might be too far back, but Danger having a go down the inside, and that was a bit too much. And the Mercedes of Trent got caught up in that as well. Damage for Danger, and he's stopped on the track. That was a bit too risky there from the Ferrari, who plummets down the order. All his hard work's been undone. Ari's down at a 7th. PS Bomber and Zonix, the McLarens, able to get up into P5 and P6. And Com United has put a Red Bull into the top 10 for possibly the first time this season, as Danger is out of the race. And what is happening here in ORL? We're down to 11 drivers out of 20. The McLaren suddenly P5, P6, with Ari Wedlock trying to get back through here. He's lost out, but now going to go down the inside of Zonix with DRS and gets that job done before the braking zone, even with front wing damage. And Zonix cut the track there a little bit, but he's going to fight it back. It's a 2v1 here. PS Bomber and Zonix versus Ari Wedlock. What's Zonix going to do? He's going to send it down the inside. He's going to get very close to his teammate. And Ari Wedlock boxed in by the two McLarens. What is happening here? This is fantastic racing. DRS open for Ari Wedlock. Is he going to be able to find a way through? Zonix into the wall. I think he got damage from that Zonix, but Ari Wedlock does get through. And yes, Zonix does have damage, and he's struggling now. And Mickey coming from behind. Mickey is now all of a sudden thrust into a moment of opportunity in this race, but can't quite get the job done. What a chaotic 2 laps we've just seen here at Canada.
Yep, you said something was on the horizon, and something definitely was. That incident at the Wall of Champions was definitely a way to kick it off, but what you didn't see, the reason Ari did drop back down is because he spun right in front of the Ferrari of Danger and the Mercedes of Trent Newton. He spun on his own volition while the other two were spearing off into the barrier, as now Mickey is down the inside of Zonix here at the chicane, but he's not able to get that one done, and they're now surely going to swap around, as Zonix is missing both end plates on his front wing, so he will have about as much downforce as a horse and carriage as he heads around this lap of Canada here on lap 25, and they head down the straight, and Mickey not able to get the move done here on Zonix, as they now have the DRS, and he's going to try and sail past the McLaren here as they head towards the Wall of Champions. It'll be very easily done here with a dose of DRS, and now Mickey moves up into the top 7.
Yep, and now Mercedes P7, P9, McLaren's P6, P8, so they could make some good gains. Both these teams really need the points, so they'll be looking to gain a couple more places. With all the chaos that the Saubers have been involved in, they're still P6 and P5, and Martin had a tough time getting past the lap car of Rhino there, but just was able to get through, and now Keithy makes his way through as well as Grateful Dog, and this race is still on here. But Keithy down into P3, still no penalties. If a safety car does come out late, Keithy will be in the box seat to take this race win. But at the moment, it's Piastri Goat who is 9 seconds clear and continuing to gain as the race continues on. And now we're starting to settle down a little bit here on the track, but still a good battle here for P2 as Keithy down the outside gets past the damaged Kick Sauber here and a retirement for Rhino, and it's a virtual safety car, and Martin comes into the pits to get the front wing changed, and now we're down to 10 drivers. All Common United needs to do is to finish this race, and Red Bull will have a point this season for the first time.
Yep, and what a story this is. 10. I can't even believe my own words here. 10 DNFs in Canada. P11 all the way to P20. And that is, well, it wasn't on my bingo card, to say the least. But it's very Season 1 ORL, would you agree?
Yeah, I think it sums it up quite well.
Yeah, it feels very much like, I think my closest comparison would be the Div 2 Belgium Grand Prix, I think, of Season 1. A lot of cars up the top of Eau Rouge with F122's grip just went flying off. But anyway, we have green flag running here with 10 cars running around this circuit. Keithy currently sitting in second place and in the box seat to get second place. Oscar Piastri Goat is just steps above the rest here in Canada, 10 seconds ahead of Keithy. So absolutely no contest here for the race win unless he makes a major mistake or we have a full safety car, as Grateful Dog just found himself slamming into the wall. I wonder if he got damage. Yes, he did.
Yep, that's not good at all. We've got a lot of damage throughout the field at the moment. So Martin pitting for not just to change the wing, but also for new tyres. Is that going to help as Mickey and PS Bomber now wheel to wheel into turn one? A little bit of wheel bumping. Mickey has the outside line, but PS Bomber fights back. It's going to be tight here, PS Bomber. The wise decision to let Mickey through there. Knows it's just important to secure some good points here. We don't need to be battling too hard. And it's a wise decision from the McLaren. There's only 7 laps remaining in this one. Can we see some late drama? We've already had plenty as the race has gone on. Ari Wedlock is running with damage as well, with Mickey and PS Bomber coming up quick behind. So he's hanging on for dear life. And Keithy now has freed himself up in P2 with Grateful Dog's damage. Grateful Dog also a bit of a sitting duck. He's just going to be praying for the checkered flag to come as soon as is humanly possible here. But Mickey and PS Bomber are on the charge here. And then Trent and Martin not too far behind as well. Trent is on 24 lap old hard tyres, still making them work at this stage in the race. Doesn't have to pit again. And yeah, a pretty good job there from the Mercedes driver. But yep, 6 laps to go now. We'll see if anyone can make a charge here.
Yeah, I think I don't think we'll see any big charges here. I think we're just going to see a bit of a battle between Mickey and PS Bomber, but they also have 6 and 9 seconds of penalties. So no matter what, realistically, unless Mickey gets another penalty, this isn't going to be for position. It'll just be for position on the track. But 9 tenths between them. Bomber's made a mistake. Now DRS is broken, and that means not a single car in this 10-car field has DRS to one another with 6 laps to go.
Yep, so closest here, Martin is rapidly closing in on Trent. Martin's got new soft tyres on, so he's going to be pushing hard. He hasn't gotten the fastest lap. That still belongs to Danger. But Martin on the charge here. He's got a purple middle sector and 1.1 seconds behind the Mercedes. So can he make much of an impression on not just Trent, but also PS Bomber, Mickey, and Ari Wedlock and Grateful Dog, who aren't too far up the road? There's not much time left, but he's going to have to absolutely fly through. This is an important overtake here. Can he get through? He doesn't have DRS. Is he going to have a bold move around the outside? He gets the fastest lap. Trent doesn't fight it and lets the Sauber through, and he can continue his run up to P7 now.
Yep, so he's going to be on a charge. 3 seconds in 5 laps with fresh soft tyres should be doable here. for Martin, and as long as he's within 3 seconds of PS Bomber, he's going to get the P6, which he's already about to do, and then he just needs to close in to Mickey regardless here, and then he will be able to probably get P6, I think, once all is said and done in Montreal. But this race has created a lot of penalties and a lot of DNFs. This is very Canada, I think, would be a way to put it. A lot of people crashing into the walls, a lot of damage, a lot of penalties. You couldn't really not guess that this was going to happen, and I am my own worst enemy, I guess, in that sense, putting Canada every season on the on the calendar. Definitely self-interest there, but I don't think a lot of the other drivers get along with this circuit. And
yeah, there's a few angry comments already coming through. But yeah, I mean, they have to drive on the track that's in front of you, and if you want to win a championship, you just got to be good everywhere. You can't complain that you don't like a specific track or not. You just got to do it.
Unless it's coded, then you're excused. Circuit of the Americas has none of my love, no. But all seriousness, yeah, it's definitely not great to see so many drivers down and out of this race. My mic's turned itself down so much, it's ridiculous. Hold on, the game will be paused for a brief moment here. Give me a moment. Oh.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Martin can see PS Bomber in his view. I don't think he got DRS there. Actually, he might have. He's going to turn the battery on. He might not even need DRS to get this job done. He doesn't. He's 3 tenths behind, chasing after that McLaren. This is for P6, and the charge on the soft tyres is continuing. It's a good exit for Martin. Now down the inside he goes, and that's another place for the Sauber, slowly working his way back up. There's 3 laps to go. Can he make up a place on Mickey here? He does have the same amount of penalties, so it's an even fight. And I think Martin's ceiling here is going to be P5, but Mickey's going to fight it hard to get those points for the Mercedes team. And in the meantime, big gaps between all the other positions. So this is going to be the main interest here late on in the piece. P5 versus P6. Who is going to be able to snap this one up?
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I think that Martin should be able to close up, and he should be able to get it, unfortunately for myself. Here is the team principal, but Trent goes round the outside towards the entry of the hairpin and gets past PS Bomber, but with the lack of penalties compared to PS Bomber, he would have gotten it anyway once all was said and done. But we are heading towards the penultimate lap of this race. We have one more lap, then we're on the penultimate lap, then the final lap, and that is all that Martin has to close into 1 second of Mickey and then try and battle it out. And he only has 5 tenths to close before all is said and done, and he has to try and make an overtake. But Trent is making a late resurgence here in Canada. He is trying to stay into this fight, and he's trying to stay in the hand of Martin and maybe try and help out his teammate here. He only has a 3-second time penalty. Trent could snatch a top 5 here as well if he plays his cards right, but he also could confirm a 5-6 here for Mercedes, which would be pretty crucial for their constructors' charge.
Yeah, it's a great point, and the low penalties for Trent could come back to save him here. In this situation, he's doing really well on very old hard tyres. It's a tough job to break DRS on this track, and as Martin is finding out, and maybe those soft tyres just starting to hold up and slow down for him a little bit, because Trent all of a sudden making an impression, and Martin hasn't made a big impression on Mickey here as we enter lap 34. Still 1.2 behind, so not quite there yet. Oscar Piastri picks up another 3 second, but he's got a 14-second buffer there to Keithy, so should be no problem barring any late disasters. But Martin is now within DRS of Mickey. Trent's still right there as well, so Trent looking at a P5 finish here, and it's going to be very tight between Martin and Mickey, and Trent is going to try and play his role here for the team and staying quite close up to Martin, who's now dropped DRS once again. So it's not as easy as Martin was hoping here late on.
Yeah, I think that his soft tyres may be just starting to go here in the final stages of this Canadian Grand Prix, and Trent Newton is all over the back of Martin. He's nearly pushed him into the entry of the right-left. Oh,
Oh no.
no! Mickey gets an extra 3-second time penalty. All he needed to do was drive it home for 1 and a bit more laps of this race, and he would have been safe and sound with a P6 result if Martin couldn't close in. But now he's relying on Martin getting another penalty. But Trent in the DRS, he's closing on the Sauber. He's closing on the Sauber. Will he go for a move towards the final corner? Yes, he will. He's going to go down the inside. Martin fighting this back.
Oh, no!
There's contact. Trent gets sent spearing off towards the barrier, manages to catch the car before it flies into the wall, but now he loses the place to PS Bomber, and more crucially, a 3-second gap to Martin.
Oh, that is... He just needed to stay behind there, did Trent, and that is going to hurt. And we'll keep an eye on that, but it's close. He's still around 3.7 away, so not too bad for the Mercedes there. Mickey is 1.2 ahead, so he's not going to be enough. So Martin should be able to secure that P5. But in the meantime, as we head down the back straight, the man who has been able to avoid all the chaos and all the carnage, and that's the way you need to do it here at ORL. He's had some great pace all day long. Oscar Piastri goes 3 for 3 in the Aston Martin. His third win in his third race, and he takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship with a perfect drive. Converted from pole to a race win. No dramas at all for the Aston Martin. A great finish for him. Keithy went penaltyless, which you could argue is just as impressive at this track. Takes a P2, and Ari Wedlock comes home with a podium. Snatches it off Grateful Dog by 5/10 in the end. Martin takes home a P5, and Mickey has to settle for P7 in the end. Gets overtaken by Trent, and oh my goodness, that was close to Martin, and that spin at the end has cost Trent a couple points there for him and Mercedes. And McLaren P8, P9, and Com United is going to get Red Bull's first singular point for the season to get them off the mark. Wow, what a finish that was. It was close when it came to the on-track results after penalties, but in the end, it's Piastri Goat taking home the win, and a very dominant race from the Aston Martin there.
Yep, that was, he was just unstoppable, wasn't he? It was like 2023 Max Verstappen behind the wheel today in that Aston Martin. He absolutely drove away from the rest of the drivers, but your finishing order is Oscar Piastri Goat, from Keithy, from Ari Wedlock, from Grateful Dog, Martin, Trent, Mickey, PS Bomber, Zonix, and Com United. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the rest of the 20-car grid is DNF'd. Definitely an interesting one, to say the least. But yeah, that was not a bad race at all. I think just the end, with everybody losing DRS, made it a bit trickier, but then you still had the element when it came to constructors as well. So a fairly good race here in all the grand scheme of things in round 5.
Yep. Some good drives to be noted as well. Who are we going to pick for our driver of the day? There was a couple good ones. Oscar Piastri Goat, obviously, with the win. Keithy going penaltyless, down from P6 as well, had a good drive. There's a few options there. Who do we think?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say something, but I mean, it's kind of biased, but I mean, P12 to P6 also isn't bad from Trent. I mean, you kind of got to say Oscar Piastri, though, don't you? Like, it's a dominant win.
Yeah, I think so. I think that late move there from Trent, probably the one that cost him a couple points, might have hurt his drive there at the end, which probably just gives Piastri Goat the edge in my eyes for driver of the day.
Yep, I'd 100% agree with that one. Now, oh no, I'm getting bombarded with fan zone stuff when I'm just trying to get to I'm just trying to get to the showroom. Hold on. Let me go to the showroom.
We're doing post-race interviews.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask you actually, because I'm trying to get there, but I'm wondering if we're doing post-race interviews or not.
Yeah, may as well. We can do it.
Yeah, sure. Alrighty, well let's jump into the Paddock VC and get them in.
Up.
This fan zone stuff, honestly.
Well, we'll be able to get the results up nice and quickly thanks to the awesome Racing League tools.
P3 was...
Hey, lads.
Ari.
Ari, yep, Sauber.
Yep. It's Keithy.
Good day, lads.
Yeah, we're just waiting on
Welcome.
Ari and Piastri.
I don't think Piastri Go can talk. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, that's alright.
So we're just seeing if we can get Ari in.
Lindsay, I agree with you now. Canada is my favourite track.
Okay, what a goat. Keithy, ladies and gentlemen, is the best. I think we might only have one interview, J-Man.
That's alright. One's better than none.
I think Ari should join. I'll tell him to.
Oh, we'll just kick it off anyway. You can
Well,
do
yeah,
that.
we may as well start. Keithy, P2 for yourself, and standing out, the only driver without a penalty today, and it was a much needed P2 for yourself today.
Yeah, had some bad luck in recent races, but I'm happy with the P2. I knew Oscar was going to pull away. He's rapid at this track, but I just tried to stay clean, and it ended up working. I didn't get any penalties, didn't get any damage, no incidents.
Yep, it was a very clean race from yourself. How was the early race strategy there? You're in a great battle with a couple of the Saubers up there, and were able to fend them off, and the Haas drivers as well. How'd you see that battle early on?
Early race, it was just not getting damage and not getting warnings like the other blokes did. Like, you could see they were battling hard, so I just tried DRS swapping with people and trying to stay wheel to wheel. Like, not trying to stay wheel to wheel, obviously, but yeah, it was pretty good. Good fun.
Yep, very nicely done, and some good points to the team as well. I'll palm it off to my commentary partner, Lindsay, who's I'm sure has some questions for you.
I only have one, and it is... so you've had Canada, but next round is around Silverstone in a week's time.
That's my actual favourite track. I love Silverstone. I'm so good at it. Like, oh my god, I'm so fast there.
So
Such a good track.
I'm
going to put Lord on a leash again. Lord is my son for that race.
Oh, I might have to jump in now. I can't be having this cockiness. No, I should have made my return tonight. Maybe Oscar would have had some some competition.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about pushing to try and catch Oscar and trying to stay in DRS, but I'm like, there's some blokes behind me and they've all got penalties. I think I should stick with a P2 to keep it safe.
Yep, fair enough. Well, congrats on the P2, and now Ari has finally made his way into the commentary box. He just got a little bit lost on the way. And J-Man, do you want to take away his interview?
Ari, well, it was a very topsy-turvy one for yourself today. I think you'll admit that one as well, but it is a P3 for yourself, and I believe that's your first ORL podium as well, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy race. Got taken out, came back. Yeah, it was just a bit crazy, but I brought it back to third, which was all right, and had good race pace to the end, and yeah.
Yeah, it was very nicely done, and some great pace from yourself, not just from this weekend, over the season as a whole. Been very impressive, but racecraft been pretty decent as well. You had a very exciting opening battle there for the opening 15 or so laps of the race there with Keithy and with Grateful Dog as well. How'd you go about taking on that battle, and what was the strategy?
Yeah, well, me and Keith were just trying to work together and catch Grateful Dog, and then we ended up catching him, and then we both overtook him. Then we tried to catch Piastri Goat, but he was just a bit too quick today, so we couldn't really do much about that. And then got taken out and then went back.
Yeah, and also a very close moment with your teammate. I think it was probably about lap 20 where Martin tried to fly through on the grass there, and it nearly nearly messed you up. How nervous were you looking behind you at that stage?
Yeah, there was a bit of touches between my teammate, but luckily we didn't take each other out, which is good. He had a bit of an unfortunate race, but yeah, happens.
Yeah, great result for yourself, and that thrusts you into a very decent-looking championship position at the moment. So he'd be pretty happy with that. And I'll hand it over to Lindsay or some other thoughts.
Honestly, no, I've just got the same question that I asked. Keithy, next round is at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. How do you feel about that circuit heading into next round?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
I'll answer for him. He's feeling great for it.
Okay, cool.
Right,
Anyway,
me. Mate, was that question towards me?
yeah.
That was Ferrari.
I'm feeling good for it. Yeah.
No, I said, yeah. You know what?
I'm so
Okay.
confused. I'm so
Anyway,
confused.
on
Lindsay,
that,
Lindsay, this is your fault. This
yep.
is your fault.
Okay. Anyway, sure. On that note, that is going to be all
It's a good note.
for okay, oh my god.
He's so flustered.
That is going to be all for tonight here for ORL Racing Action. Next week, we have the British Grand Prix in Silverstone, which is bound to deliver one of the best racing tracks in the world, always creating all the side-by-side racing action you could wish for. I've been Lindsay Model in the commentary box. I've been joined by J-Man in the box. Thank you for watching, everybody.